hi, this is Bhavna and you are, this is Bhavna and you are on India Today.
मैं समझे बैठता हूँ.
Hello.
भावनाओं को समझूंगा.
That was coming.
So this is the energy today on sets and here I am on India Today with Suparn, Mihir and Vikrant, only on India Today. Firstly, welcome. The energy I love, the energy that you all have and the synergy that you all share here. But you know, on a serious note, OTT has been a game changer. Everyone has been saying that time and again, we repeat that. But as directors, I want to understand how has it been a game changer for you all? Because as an audience, it's definitely been a game changer for us. How has it changed the landscape for each one of you as filmmakers?
See, here's the thing. The kind of storytelling that we were doing prior to the last 4-5 years, when things started, OTT came into being, and especially in the last 2-3 years, unfortunately because of COVID, where everybody is trapped at home and there's nothing to watch but us. It changed the paradigm of storytelling in a very different way. You were used to television, you used to films. And OTT came in with a different language altogether because the content you see on platforms is like seeing a novel.
True.
Whether it's a writing, because you're writing arcs for each character. It's written differently. It's made on a scale of film. So you are kind of literally changing what you watch and how you watch it. It happened in America, I think, with HBO being the key factor. In India, it started in the last 3-4 years, and now it's changed your movie-going habits to a point where, you know, filmmakers who are making films have to reinvent their game and storytelling. OTT has kind of found its space and niche completely. They become part of our everyday lives.
True.
And yeah, so today it is that new world that we inhabit. So as directors, as creators, we are looking for new stories, new storytellers, and talent and technicians on a daily basis to tell. And it's not that there's a saturation point, but there is a huge appetite. And India is a land of stories, and we have so many stories to tell from so many different cultures that they're all coming out. So it's actually beautiful.
What about you? Do you want to add anything to it?
Sure. No, I feel that the OTT has given us a space to sort of explore certain kind of stories that maybe in cinema we probably wouldn't.
Correct.
And for me, I'm at a stage where anyway I enjoy the process of filmmaking. So going through the process of filmmaking for me is always going to be more exciting than always the outcome. And I always feel that in an OTT space, because it's web series, there's a creator, there's a producer, there's a platform. So as a director, we are babysitters. It's not my baby, you know, so to speak. And it becomes important to make sure that what the creator set out to make matches with my vision. So that's a different kind of a challenge. So I see that way,
And also I feel like a story like Masoom, which perhaps couldn't have gotten the space that it deserves in theaters, got the right space for audience to view on a streaming platform, right? Similarly with Dahan, I mean, in cinemas, it would have taken a long time for people to even know that a film or a series like that has come out. But on Hotstar, I mean, it's just available to everyone, and that is the reason why it's doing so well. Even, I mean, in the short time that it has been released.
It's also a great show, by the way.
It is. That's why it's a success. But how do you see this as a game changer for you?
I think what both of them said is actually is what I also feel. Also, one observation that I have is it's pushed us as makers into a position of a challenge that we have to come up with content that captures people time. Right. With films or with television, there's a particular time that the medium decides. Whereas with OTT, you have the freedom to watch it anytime you want.
That's actually a very valid point.
So for me, it all works back from the fact that, look, I have to capture that time of that person. The content better be that good that the person coming back from work or just going to sleep or
while traveling
on the pot, wherever wants to consume that content, right? So I think the key distinguisher for me in this medium is that we are forcing buying the audience into spending the time from a multiple choice of how they would want to spend the time, essentially. So उन सब चीजों को साइड में रख के they are choosing to watch your show.
So the show better be worth it.
Good, I think. So that's a big one for us. I think as makers, we have to measure up to that. And I think the fantastic shows that these two have made and the ones before that have come have thankfully
set the benchmark
and set the expectation right. So the audience is still expecting makers to say, okay, willingly giving you the time,
Yeah.
are you going to keep us entertained or enthralled or whatever? I think.
No, I agree to all of that. But, I remember back, 2 years back when we would ask actors that, what do you think about OTT? Would you be open to an OTT show? And the answers would usually be very, like, blurred. It would be ambiguous. They'd be like, dekhenge. But today I see actors, like, they want to do OTT shows, at least from what we see, Has the landscape changed for you? Like, are actors more willing to hear a narrative which is for an OTT platform?
So here's what happened a year ago. Manoj Bajpayee was the biggest star, is the biggest star in this country.
Yeah.
So when that happens, a key understanding changes, right? Where Jaideep Alawat, Pankaj Tripathi, Shefali Shah, these are, giants of actors in general, and they're being celebrated as stars now, which is a very different thing. So now it's changed. It's a perception thing. So when talent managers, the people around you start viewing that space differently, it becomes the place to be in. And also, end of the day, even the stars are actors. They all want to perform meaty roles. They're all dying to do that, right? End of the day, that's their key core competency. They're actors. And here is an arena where you are literally, gladiators in an arena where you're pitched with the best of actors. And it's not going to be just about you, because in a film, you're following your hero's journey. In a OTT show, you have variety of actors, characters who are all with as much meat as you. So now you're in a bloody WrestleMania match, fighting with each other, and you have to come out on top. It challenges you. It makes you play your A game at a different level as an actor, not just as a star. Star is what you're in front of a press, or you're walking in style. You're not going to get that camouflage at all. You can't hide behind. You are naked as an actor. And that is a challenge. And every actor wants to do that. That becomes a thing. Ab main karke dikhaunga. Maza wahan hai. So when that changes, they all want to be part of it, because you're shining, right?
Of course, but did you also encounter times when you've perhaps written a script, or you have an actor in mind that maybe I should approach this actor for a particular role, and that actor is perhaps not keen on doing it only because it's on an OTT platform? Have you seen that changing as well?
I definitely have. I mean, people are more receptive, but I also feel it, like Suparn said, it is the challenge of a performance, and at the same time, the reach that an OTT gives is very vast. And sometimes with theatrical runs, maybe there is a doubt whether it's going to work or not work. But here, if you say pick a Hotstar, there are different genres. There's a certain genre that will work. There's another genre that will work for families. So the reach is kind of guaranteed. Now, beyond that, it's the story that needs to hold. So even as a filmmaker, a challenge is how we tell a story different from cinema. What are those points where we feel people might drop, but we have to hook them back in. So writing changes also. But I do feel it's the reach also that is very attractive, even to me. Like, if I make like you said, if I make a Masoom, I don't know, for theaters, I don't know how many might watch it, but I know for sure on Hotstar, people will watch it. It's going to do well.
Geographically also, you're not limited. It just reaches out to a lot more people around the world as well.
I mean, I think you've covered everything.
But have you encountered a change, or have you personally seen a change perhaps where actors who are not willing to be a part of an OTT show before are now willingly, like, they're just open to it?
I think a large part of the credit goes to shows that have done really well, and actors who've really broken that ceiling and come out as fantastic performers. And that becomes a precedence for people to follow. Like Suparn was saying, that I think all stars also are actors.
Exactly.
And when they see someone do that, and if you're in good hands, I think the willingness is always there.
Like with Kajol on set, for example. I mean, here's the thing, right? She's done cinema of a certain nature, which is fantastic, and the whole nation loves her. But here she rose up to the challenge, knowing what she's coming in, knowing who the cast members are and how it's going to work out. And we would have readings, almost like we had 10 sittings of readings with other actors before you even went on set. She was prepped and ready. I mean, when she would come on set, you would see the change, because she realized you're not going to see Kajol in front of the camera. She's playing the character. And characters is what holds shows together.
Correct.
So it has to be different from what she's done before. She can't be playing that emotion or scene which she might have played in the past,
Right.
like this now. It has to be interpreted differently. And that's the understanding they come with, because end of the day, they're all really great actors.
Yeah.
And when they realize that you as makers are rising to the challenge and pushing them, and they want to be pushed. Every actor, end of the day, is a child, where they expect you to be there for them, and they know when you know your job. Because if you don't, then they'll do their own thing. And when you come with so much of prep, so much of research, so much of reading, everybody
To back
in
them
your
up
team
as
is
well,
there.
yeah, true.
They know, then they rise up, and when they rise, they shine. So it's a great fun time.
And I think I'm seeing that as well on Celluloid when I see actors challenge themselves as well and breaking out of the mold. But I also want to understand, in cinema, we always hear that after an actor reaches a certain point, usually the characters are written keeping the actor in mind, not just the character in mind. But with OTT, do you face that challenge sometimes? Or especially, say, when you're working with an actor like Kajol, or you like a Baman Irani who comes with a set, like, you know, you have a certain image of him in mind.
So
right?
I'll just jump in and jump
Yeah.
back, is that we are here to break that image. There is no pressure of a Friday where the audience is going to see a Salman Khan film. So Salman Khan has to act like Salman Khan.
Right.
They are not coming here to see a Kajol film or a Shah Rukh film, that they have to act that image that's been sold to them over the last, so many years. Because that's films are set at times, mostly at times, around images. OTT content is set around characters.
Right.
You are coming here to see us. Audience is coming to see a story in which their favorite actor is there as well. So it's a different thing. So I'm not pandering to your image. I'm creating or pandering to my story, and my story is the only thing driving me. Nobody else.
Wow, that's nice.
No, he nailed it. And the whole idea is that you want to cast someone, again, since you gave Baman's example, you want to cast someone like a Baman because we know that there is more to him.
Yeah.
And he is a kind of performer. I mean, he started with Ram Madhwani's Let's Talk, so to speak, So there is a side to him that people may not have explored because they feel he works in a certain way.
Right.
And this challenge is fun for me, fun for him. And it's always exciting to sort of break molds. That's what OTT allows us to do.
Yeah, and I agree to that. Even as an audience, I get so much. I mean, there's a plethora of work that I can choose.
Yeah.
That, okay, I want to watch this today, I want to watch that today, and that is amazing. But again, one of the game-changing things is the fact that on OTT, it allows you to tell your story in the most authentic way, right? But also, there are growing concerns about censorship, because in the recent past, we have seen times where there has been this debate about whether or not there should be censorship on OTT shows as well. I want to know, as filmmakers, how do you view that? Do you feel that will kind of put an end to the freedom or the liberation that OTT offers eventually?
See, end of the day, there is self-censorship first, right?
Correct.
And every show dictates the kind of storytelling that you need to do. So if I'm making a show about a family drama, then it'll be made a certain way. If I'm making a show about a certain character in a certain milieu, it'll be made a certain way. It'll go to a certain platform, number one, that allows it, because they have a certain set of audiences that they're catering to.
Right.
If there is no market for it, you can't tell that story in the first place.
Right.
So that is one. Two, here's the thing. There are certain things we do, certain things we don't ourselves, because that's how we are as people. Like right now, I'm giving an interview, and I might, in my private life, use beautiful, colorful language, which we may not do right now, because it's polite nature, right? But if I'm having a banter off camera, I'll be very, very nice and French in nature, but besides the point. So that's one. But yeah, there are certain guidelines, rules that do come in, and in a way, you take that challenge, adapt it, and still tell your story.
Right.
Because no story of any kind is devoid of, say, politics, or what you think of life, or society, or what you perceive of it. It's always there.
Yeah.
Sometimes आप झंडा पकड़ के चिल्लाते हो, sometimes आप बिना झंडा पकड़े चिल्लाते हो, but एक आवाज हर कहानी में होती है, उस राइटर की, उस डायरेक्टर की, उस किरदार की आती है. So that will never go away. It can't. It's impossible, right? मतलब right down to reading a Mahabharata or a Ramayana will have politics in it. It's all about that, inherently there. It has society in it. You can't hide it. It's there. So regardless of whatever, stories will come out. stories are like water. You can hold them in your hand, but pani to niklega, रेत की तरह है. You can't. It's a force of nature. So you work your way around it, and yeah, I mean, do I believe in it? Personally, no. But we live in a country we're governed by laws and a constitution, and if they are part of it, we'll work our ways around it, and
But do
obey the law.
when you're working on a script or when you're thinking about how to go about it, do you self-censor a lot of times? Do you see yourself censoring the content or the script a lot of times only to avoid any sort of backlash that might happen? Because aajkal you can't even predict what will cause a backlash, especially on social media.
I don't think so. I mean, we just work by guidelines that are anyway given to us, and we have a sense of what may not work for the story. So we always give story the first importance.
Right.
And then maybe we'll see if something comes up from readings and sessions with the crew or something like that. Then maybe we will. But beyond that, it's not a hard sort of dictatorial thing that you've got to stop.
Yeah,
Right.
none of us are making content to offend in the first place.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone does that,
Yeah,
but still sometimes we have seen examples in the past, right, where you might not step out, and I don't think anyone steps out thinking that, let me offend this person or
Yeah.
this section, but you don't know what ruffles someone in
So if
the
you don't
wrong.
know, then why worry about it?
Exactly, right. Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, each day is a new story, man, so it's okay.
As long as your conscience is clear, you're
Yeah.
fine.
Correct.
That is actually very true what Vikrant just
Yeah.
said. As long as your conscience is clear.
That's all that matters.
Yeah, I guess that is the only way we can look at it.
तो
But
अगर
also-
आपको आज उठ के अगर ऑफेंस लेना है तो मतलब आपको मेरी पैंट का अगर अच्छी नहीं लगेगा तो मैं क्या कर
Yeah,
सकता हूँ? नहीं
हाँ।
पहनूंगा
वो
भाई,
तो
सॉरी.
मतलब खैर
हाँ।
सही बात है, वो ऑफेंस जिसको लेना है वो ले सकते हैं, but sometimes it can get a little I mean it weighs down the story, the series maybe sometimes. You've seen that
See, art
effect,
forms
but
have existed for a long time. Satire is a way of telling things against censorship, and it'll form like he says, stories find a way of metaphors. Metaphors are
Yeah.
are there. Analogies are there. Satire is an art form, writing form, which really can work with censorship.
right.
And it's not something new. We have lived it
Yeah,
since the time we
for
were
hundreds,
born, so we
thousands
know
of
a way
years.
around it.
Thousands of years, yeah. So it's not-
That's lovely.
Yeah.
But I also want to know, recently there was a report that came wherein we saw that OTT is performing much better when it comes to representation of women as well in stories, not just on screen but off screen as well. And we've seen, I mean, all your projects have strong leading roles and characters written for women as well. How do you look at that? I mean, what has happened and I'm talking purely as an audience from a very female perspective as well. There you see voice for female characters, you see a gaze which was first primarily focused more on male gaze is now shifting, and slowly you see a story being told from a female gaze as well, which is a wonderful change. How much do you take all of that in consideration when you are working on a story?
Let's start with Vikrant.
I mean, I think the story tells you the protagonist that will carry it. I feel many a times. If Avni was not Avni but Ajay, let's say, would I have the same dimensions to that character?
Right.
Certainly not. I think her being a mother, her being a woman in a man's world, her being in a position of power but not have to prove herself constantly. These are great layers for the character, which a female character, a
Right.
woman character would definitely bring out. A man's character would have a different set of
Right.
challenges, and I think the writers wanted to really explore the empathetic side of being a woman today in this kind of a crazy world, put her against really a hard environment, right, and see what comes out.
Right.
And so I think the story decides. Any other show could be about a very specifically male-driven protagonist,
True.
and
No,
so
but
we
do you
don't
keep the
we
gender
don't-
politics in mind as
Not
well?
really, no. I think when you start forcing your agendas onto a story, then it loses its authenticity,
Right.
its believability. I think you stay true to the material, to the idea, you'll be fine. 9 or 10 times, I feel.
Okay.
But you write, yeah. So tell us about what your experience is as a writer.
Well, here's the thing. My core belief is this, which is a fact, that women are biologically stronger to men, mentally stronger to men, superior to men in every form and shape, and that is the reason for centuries we've been subjugating them and trying to control that. Otherwise, it's a power game. As simple as that. Men and women are equals, yes, and they should be. And I like strong women. So it's an inherent thing.
Right.
What it took me a long time to understand is their perspective, which is they might be strong, but to get that strong, they had to suffer so much. That journey is wherein their tale lies, because you only see the strength, you see the final face. You don't see the story behind that. And that is the struggle of each and every woman on this planet. It's not a country thing.
Yeah,
You can go to the West, you can go to the East. Women struggle with men and their perceptions and trying to control them in every relationship, in every domain. What's happening now with our society in a good way is that we are talking and screaming about representation. We want them to come to the fore. Their stories, their voices are coming out. You have great creators, you have great technicians. That is one part of it. But you also have a lot of men who are grown up being mollycoddled by their mothers, incidentally, or living a certain life, realizing that, wait, this is part of my job. This is a part of a relationship where it's about equals. It's a change fundamentally percolating down because of education through the ranks of society. It will take time to reach everywhere, but it's a journey. But our stories, in a way, and it's not about messaging, it's about portrayal. Our stories become the first gates of letting that voice out.
Right.
And it's happening organically,
But I feel OTT is a huge contributor to that, for sure.
I guess, in a way, because see, again, there are two reasons. When you have films, you have the first act, which is the romance, followed by the problem, followed by the culmination. And the romance, at times, and unfortunately, it's a big thing or big problem per se for me, is where we try to give a reason to why they fell in love.
Yeah.
There is no reason for anybody to fall in love. But when you try to give reasons to why you fell in love, it could be कि बेचारी लड़की अबला नारी रात को जा रही थी, 4 लड़के आए, उसको हीरो ने आके बचाया, इसलिए उसको प्यार हो गया. So you're showing a weak woman. She might have a strong personality later in one scene to balance the heroine out. कि मैं क्या कर रही हूँ फिल्म के अंदर. So you have seen that arc.
On that note, I need a high five on that. Please.
High five. ये ले. Now we can change legs. 1, 2, 3. So आना था. So, but here's the thing, right? On OTT, things happen. Things happen in silences.
Yeah.
You have space and time and episodes for silences. जहाँ बिन देखे 10 चीजें होती हैं. हर चीज बोलने की जरूरत नहीं है आपको. And that slow education is also happening for our executives. A lot of them who are on OTT are coming from TV. Because TV, again, works on the same principle because it derived from films, right? OTT is a different paradigm. So they're also realizing it works. It's safe. It's okay not to say everything. Love, why did they fall in love does not need to be communicated.
Yeah.
They fell in love. And today, luckily, again, with the penetration of technology, this changed our life, our country, right? Because once you have that, people are talking, they are communicating, people have voices, people are getting ideas in. It changes people's thoughts fundamentally. It changes society fundamentally. People are communicating to each other. Women are communicating. They are speaking. They have voices. So when that audience rises, when the numbers happen, it comes down end of the day to numbers. Money is a driving factor for everything.
I agree.
If there is numbers in a female audience, you will have strong women characters.
Yeah.
If the women decide कि मतलब हमको अपने आप को मार खाते हुए बर्तन करते हुए देखना है with bad sauces, that will work.
True.
When they want to be seen as कि we are warriors in the field of life and doing our own thing,
Yeah, got it. Point.
audience मिल जाएगा. So then stories will be written accordingly. End of the day, silently market dictates what is made without being spoken about.
On that note, actually, you've made a very valid point. Money is what, I mean, it is the center of all the content eventually. I want to understand how much does the streaming platform cater, or what is their contribution to this entire thing? Because at the end of the day, they are the ones who are investing, who in the story at a very beginning level, and also they are the ones who are behind the numbers eventually, right? So how much is that, how much do you see them supporting stories which are like, which are supposed to be told? Is there, do you see sometimes them wavering off, considering कि पता नहीं ये कोई देखेगा नहीं देखेगा, or do you a strong resolution in them that okay, maybe we should just invest and see how it works? Like, how do they look at content? I want to understand from you.
यहाँ से जाए?
Whoever wants to go.
I love Gaurav Gandhi.
नहीं मतलब हाँ प्यार
नमस्ते कर रहा हूँ. Gaurav Gandhi जिंदाबाद. But anyway, no, coming back to this. Here's the thing. money being the key driver, luckily there's a template in general for our space, which is the platform OTT space, where content which is rich, which is original, or has something authentic and strong to say works. Content that pushes normal storytelling further and further. And end of the day, all these people who are sitting in the top positions in all the platforms are well-educated people who watch this content themselves. And we all watch content of the highest order. And that is their aspiration, to make it at that level. So what's happened is literature has come back in, where you're adapting books, not just adapting shows at times. You're getting books in. And when you do that, books are written by authors after years of research. There's a lot of personal, history and knowledge in that. Basic stuff also. So when that richness starts coming in, those personal tastes start coming in, they like it. And when you have a budget across, say, 100 shows, then they are allowed their 5 personal favorites कि ये मैं अपने लिए कर रहा हूँ, and seeing इससे क्या होता है, because see, there is no science. Nobody knows what works. And if those 5 things work, suddenly the courage increases कि let's push this, let's do this. And this is happening across all platform heads, because they are, touchwood, amazing people, and they're coming from a space of education and a lot of exposure. So
and
they
also
want to push it.
And also a will to push good content.
Desai is a great example of that. So it's a pretty unique kind of a show in its inception. Gaurav Banerjee and Nikhil Madok, who were running Hotstar, this is 2 years back. When they read the script, I was developing the script with the writers. They said that this story has to be told in that sense, right? And they backed it all the way. It's very unusual for anybody in the studio to give something this ambitious to a first-time director behind the camera. So I have a great body of work in theatre, but behind the camera is my first one, right? I'm also an employee of the Walt Disney Company, right? So it's a very unheard of kind of a proposition, but I think all credit to Gaurav Banerjee and Nikhil Madok to believe in the story and the storyteller and say let's go out there and push this and get this done. Without that support and that kind of instinct, call it exposure, call it personal interest in the story itself, the show wouldn't have happened.
Gaurav Banerjee and Nikhil Madok are really ambitious people. They like pushing stories. So it's a great fun time interacting with them.
I think that the conviction of the people who are in really position to change things is very, very important for any change to happen. And thankfully, that is happening. But like you said, at the end of the day, feedback of the audience and how they are reacting to a story is extremely important. What I feel a little difficult to understand is, especially like for films, theatre box office numbers is one of the major barometers to judge whether or not the film is being liked, right? On OTT, of course, there are certain viewership numbers and the social media interaction that follows post the series is released. But how do you declutter the noise? But that also means a lot of noise, which could just be noise and not constructive feedback. How do you declutter or separate the two? How do you gauge that, okay, this has really worked and this is just noise?
I don't know about you guys, but for me, this is still new. So I wasn't on social media until a month ago.
Okay, so for Dahan
nothing,
maybe.
So because I come from theatre, in that one black room, the audience tells you if they don't like the show, they get up and leave. If they like it, they applaud. Right? So it's right there, live in front of you. The only reason why I joined social media is to understand, hey, how do I know who's watching when and what are they feeling? The only way they'll express is probably through this. Though for me, I think this is a bit of a strange experience because we all, as filmmakers, are always in self-doubt. I don't know about you, but I am always in like, pata nahi kaise hua hai. So the noise is very, very interesting because there are a lot of people who are liking the show, and then perversely you go to that one comment who says, horrible show. And I'm like, oh, I know, I want to meet this guy and understand why he doesn't like it. So it's a bit of a mixed bag, and I'm still grappling with it a little bit. But tell us what you feel.
The platform after 2-3 weeks unofficially indicates ki tum kitne pani mein ho. Also, when the show gets a second season, the first season has number one. Number two, your phone doesn't stop ringing from the right people. When it goes silent, You know.
Yeah.
Honestly, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's just forget the noise, forget the articles and the hashtags.
Yeah.
You just know what you've done.
You know after release what works, what doesn't work.
Yeah.
As simple as that. And there is an entire science and metrics behind for the platform.
Yeah.
Whether it's completion rate, कौन सा episode कितना complete हुआ,
Correct.
you know what works.
Yeah, but
And
it's a very difficult math. I mean, to even understand.
very
how to,
simple.
like, no.
8 एपिसोड
No.
थे, इतने परसेंटेज 7 एपिसोड के बाद 8वां एपिसोड नहीं देखा, मतलब तुम कचरा थे, लास्ट के तक तुम सस्टेन नहीं कर पाए, या सबने कंप्लीशन रेट किया, इतनों ने किया, इतने परसेंटेज ने किया, इतने वॉल्यूम था, इतना सब बहुत सिंपल साइंस है, आधे पन्ने में समझ आता है.
Suparna can understand. I'm going to sit with him and understand
Yeah.
this
Yes.
once when
You are.
things, you know, when the Good Wife release, we'll sit and we'll analyze eventually. After
No,
seeing
Hotstar will
it.
ban you and ban me if I discuss that with you.
No, we'll do it unofficially. You know, अभी क्या कर सकते
Yeah,
हैं?
off the record.
But on that note, thank you so much, all of you. I hope that you keep pushing the boundaries because as audiences, we are enjoying that. We are enjoying the challenge that you are taking because it challenges us also as an audience कि हम कितना देख सकते हैं, कितना consume कर सकते हैं at the end of the day. And thank you for.
Don't have personal private lives and consume our content. We are there at it.
कहाँ आप ये content के वजह से there's genuinely no
Yeah.
personal life left because we are always
Less
constantly
fights at
only
home.
discussing.
Everybody's sitting and watching. No.
You're always just discussing ये show देखा कितने एपिसोड पे हो क्या सीन अच्छा
घर में
लगा
शांति का राज हम है.
But thank you so much
Thank
all of you and all the very best.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.